I wanted to share some advice if you're interviewing in this job market. The first tip I'd like to share with you is nowadays there's still some amazing candidates looking for jobs. And I certainly hope you're one of them, but you should understand that the majority of candidates looking for jobs in a tough job market are not the best candidates. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I wanted to highlight there is a serious trust problem in job interviews. Because what happens is when an interviewer sees that the vast majority of candidates are not qualified for the opportunity that they're screening for, they will build, a natural sort of mistrust by default to all candidates. So my recommendation to you would be to focus on building trust with your interviewer at all times. How do you build trust? I have plenty of other videos on how to achieve this, but this would be the main idea. Okay, the second tip I'd like to share with you here would be with respect to speed of hiring. During a tough job market, there is a much slower interview process. Of course, exceptions exist. There's always going to be some jobs and some amazing candidates who will get fast-tracked. But the reality is that most processes can take twice or even 3 times the normal time to get into a new job. So my advice to you would be, if you're in this job market, to focus on backup. Right? If you can, have some backups or plan accordingly. Expect if you thought this process would take 2 months, it might take close to 1 year. Okay, so found this also to be helpful advice to people I work with. The third piece of advice I'd like to share with you is with respect to cheating. Cheating is super overrated in any type of job market, but during a tough job market, cheating becomes even more interesting, because what happens is when you're under pressure, your probability to crack under pressure and try to shortcut the system will increase. So my advice to you would be to really stick to the basics. A story bank and some role play are tried and tested methods, and you should know that inventing stories, inventing metrics, using AI to pass interviews, these are, things that do not really actually work. Okay, so stick to the basics, because yes, people still pass interviews. Okay, the fourth tip I'd like to share with you here would be is when companies do not hire a lot, it means that they can place their best interviewers to screen the most candidates. And basically this plays to your advantage if you take their interviews seriously. So my point here is that merit-based interviews do happen during tough job markets, especially for the on-site interviews, because the screening rounds are, impression-based hiring. But during the final interview rounds, during a tough job market when companies are not hiring a lot, they can put their best people to screen these candidates. And if you take their interviews seriously, you're a highly qualified candidates, then your chances actually improve to pass these interviews. And finally, my last tip with respect to interviewing in a tough job market is to always be polite and try to be helpful in the process, because you'll be surprised how many candidates are not necessarily polite. And when you put a little bit of pressure on a low performer, it's far more likely they become arrogant and reactive and disinterested and with the wrong type of attitude. So if you could, pay some extra attention to these things, to be polite and try to be helpful, in my experience, not only you're more likely to pass these interviews, but you're more likely to get invited for other interviews with that same company, or who knows, for other interesting opportunities for you, because they trust you. Right, so I hope you found this useful and thank you very much for watching.